So the person who's going to have the 1 seed going to the playoffs from the West is probably going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be the Clippers. That ring ceremony that's going to happen tomorrow in front of the Clippers, Clippers that shouldn't have lost. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. Like, the Clippers shouldn't have lost, right? I
feel like they should have, but that's just because like they choked it. If they should have won it, they would have won it.
Well,
like they only have to get one game.
But granted, that's a strong argument. Like that's not even an argument. That's like truth, right?
Right.
But they ended up not playing as good as they should have, I guess. Towards the very end, I guess. And I do think that they have enough players that this ring ceremony that they're about to get is just going to rub them a different kind of way. And I think it's going to be used, especially Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue he's a good coach. It's going to be used as like a motivational factor. And for some teams, that doesn't really, for some teams, that works to an extent, but you need other entities to truly make something happen. But I think the Clippers are good enough that if they have a certain kind of motivation, then that they can become from really, really good to great. And it won't take that much except a sense of motivation. And apparently, Tyronn Lue is trying to run a similar offense as the triangle this year.
That will not work. But that's a separate thing.
But it's not the triangle. It's just similar. It has similar facets to the triangle to make Kawhi the most efficient mid-range shooter in the game, not have to be so forceful to get the mid-range, but to put him in specific spots to just the Kobe spots and the MJ spots. So it's not the triangle. It just has Trinket's other triangle, which Tyronn Lue can do because Tyronn Lue played in the triangle when he played for the Lakers. So he is a perfect person to like. Tyronn Lue just knows what needs to happen to make the team successful, and we're gonna find out really quick we're gonna find out really quick the schemes that are being ran, because I think Kawhi's. You can't blame Kawhi about last year. Except he didn't show up that last game, but he showed up in every other game prior to that singular last game, right? So you really can't blame Kawhi for last year. No matter what system Kawhi's in, San Antonio, Toronto, Clippers, Kawhi's gonna do Kawhi. But we're gonna see really quickly about the other players, especially Paul George. So if Paul George can it's not you making the shots, but it's like how you're making the shots, the positions you're in to make to shoot these shots. In the first couple games, we're gonna see this. So literally after the first 5 or 10 games, I could easily change my mind, but I have no reason to not trust Tyronn Lue. I just don't. There's been no reason. In his whole career as a coach, assistant coach, I've only heard great things about Tyronn Lue from the players and the rest of the coaching staff and so on and so forth. So I have to be proven wrong on this, but as of right now, I'm going to say that monkey on the back for the Clippers is going to motivate them to do things that are going to be deemed pretty incredible this year.
So, all right, if I might real quick, granted you said it's some sort of modified thing, so I'd have to look at it and see. But my hesitation was when you say they're going to be trying to run what's basically the triangle, is that you need a certain setup to successfully run the triangle, right? And I don't think they have that setup. Namely, I don't think they have a good enough big man to really pull it off. Because their starting center is Serge Ibaka and their starting power forward is Marcus Morris. Nothing against Morris or Ibaka, but one I've always considered Morris a bit more of a wing-ish, but more to the point, they're not good enough to play that big man role, I feel. So I feel like if they run the triangle, granted I have no idea what kind of modifications they might attempt to make, they might actually be slightly worse off for it. Just because
Granted, the triangle they're gonna run is it's obviously there's the motivation is for Kawhi. It's all for Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be less. Obviously, it's gonna be less big man influenced because of or less big man offensively influenced in terms of scoring the ball. But it might be like just move. Let's get the ball to you and move the ball. Like if you get the ball to Ibaka. If you get the ball to Ibaka on the block, he can score on the block. A little turnaround here, a little turnaround there. But I'm pretty sure the motivation is just to get the ball, get the ball moving, and just get Kawhi that mid range. Like it's not gonna obviously be the same. Because like we've seen this, it's not gonna obviously be the same triangle. But I think you make certain modifications, especially like they know the triangle much more than we do. Point period. Like this man was in it. You know what I mean? So like I kind of once again have to be like you have to prove me wrong. You know what I mean? Because right now I'm even talking to Tyronn Lue all the praise, I guess.
I mean, well, I'm not even saying like I'm not necessarily gonna argue he's a bad coach, but like I'm not sold on him being a good one. But I'll take people more closer to it. I'll take their word for it, before my own. But like, it's just historically, like in the league, right? To really run it, you need at least one really good ring player, and you need a very good to great big man, right? And like probably you need another really good wing player too. Like, and the main hitch here is of course the big man thing. Like you have the wing players, like you Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but like we'll see. But like I do feel like they'll probably end up with the 1 seed in the West for no other reason. Like the Lakers will find ways to phone games in, like to protect their two best players. I feel like the Nuggets will probably get third because they want first, but like over the course of the season, like I feel like they might, because they are still a younger team, they'll probably make enough mistakes over the course to keep them out, and like it might be worth their time to find some way to get bowling games just to get them the experience, and like you need to short Porter's defense somehow, like. So, like, at some point, I can see them like throwing a handful of games away to try and work on particular things, and then like once you get below them, everything is kind of wild because like Golden State, like Curry's coming back. Granted, what Clay's still out for another year because of an injury, if memory serves, right? Like the players on Memphis' team are gonna try their damnedest to get in the playoffs after like that play-in game loss or whatever. Like the Trailblazers still exist. New Orleans, like you said.
Dallas.
Suns.
Dallas.
Dallas. Like it's like once you get past the first three, who I feel relatively confident about, like there's no guarantee anybody ends up in any given position. Oh yeah, I personally feel like the Rockets are gonna be better than like people necessarily think they will be, but they won't be like they won't be Harden's Rockets. And also like I'm not sure they're gonna trade Harden. Like if he keeps like up with doing whatever he's doing now, because like they're gonna feel like they can't get good value back for him. And like I've heard that like Wall and Cousins both have looked fairly good in the preseason. Granted, I don't put that much stock in the preseason. Like I put about the same amount of stock in the preseason as I put in summer league games, which is to say none, really. But it helps dudes get in shape and whatever. But like supposedly they've looked halfway decent, and like that might be a value in like talking about them, given that they haven't played a lot of basketball in a while. So like the West is going to be interesting.
I made some good points with the Clippers. Cause y'all both agree with the Clippers.
Yeah.
How many games y'all think Kawhi actually gonna play? Because I feel like that's gonna be a big part of it. Like if this is the offense that is supposed to go to get them the number 1 seed if he only decides to play like 50 games this season? Then we got to go with the second best wing on their team to be in Kawhi's position, and that's going to be Paul George. And I love his jump shooting, but haven't we been like crushed enough by Paul George over the past like month and a half of like the last 20 games of the season, where we're like shaking enough that if that's going to be kind of the dude that's going to carry the team when Kawhi isn't there, like that's my whole reason why they can't be my number 1 seed this season. Like I'm leaning towards the Nuggets. I already know it's like super dark horse. I just think they have enough. They have enough dudes that can score where it's going to be a rough one. Like, who are you actually going to choose to shut down? If that jump Jamal Murray took is real, that's going to get you at least 24 a game. Then we got to worry about Michael Porter Jr., who I think is probably going to be good enough to probably get you 20 points next season. He might not be able to stop nobody, but he's 16 and he gets you 20.
I'm actually
Just
just
gotta worry about
like they shore up his defense. If they shore up his defense, he can start and they can keep him on the floor.
Michael Porter Jr. has a chance to win most improved player.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like that should be his, honestly.
Yeah. I just think they have a good enough offense and they're young enough where I don't think they're going to miss games like that. And then they have a healthy buddy who was out, Gary Harris, who was out like most of the bubble. He's going to be
Will Barton too.
like all of those like that. A healthy Nuggets team, you're running like 8 dudes that can really just go out and get you a bucket. And
The Nuggets are built for the regular season. That's 100% true. Like the Nuggets are built for the regular season, and if Michael Porter Jr. steps up to where he should be this upcoming season, and Bol still supposedly like steps up to where he's supposed to be this upcoming season also, then like that's a good team. Like especially for the regular seasons, their superstars or their stars aren't going to take off. Like they don't got that. They can't take off. So like they're deep enough and have enough to legitimately be the number 1 seed. So I can definitely see that one as well.